Welcome back to Geometry, Chapter 3, Section 7. We're talking about perpendicular lines in the coordinate plane. Remember, parallel, perpendicular. Perpendicular is at right angles, parallel never meet. Perpendicular always meets. Alright, so the symbol for perpendicular is like an upside down T with a little upside down L. That shows it's perpendicular. We already talked about slope. It is M. Who knows why? Doesn't make any sense. And that if lines are parallel, they have the same slope. If lines are perpendicular, to get the slope, you flip it and change the sign. So where the hand clap comes from is the flip it hand clap, and it comes from the Black Eyed Peas song. Turn up the radio, blast the stereo louder. And the real song says, and pump it, pump it. But we say flip it, flip it. Alright, so that way if we were in class and you were supposed to flip something and you forgot and you just sit there, then I go and look at you very pointedly, so you go, oh yeah, you flip it. Alright, so if the slope is x over y, I just picked two letters, don't let that confuse you, because really slope is y over x. I should have picked different letters. Let's pick different letters, it'll make it better. Okay, so if the slope is a over b, then the slope of a perpendicular line will be negative b over a. You flip it and change the sign. Okay, so this slope for a is 2, slope b is negative 1/2. Are they perpendicular? Well, if you flip 2, there's an understood 1 underneath it. If you flip it and then change the sign, you get negative 1/2. Yay! They're perpendicular. This one, the first slope is 3/4. The second one is negative 4/3. Are they perpendicular? Yes, they are, because we flipped it and changed the sign. Are these two perpendicular? Well, we don't know. To be able to know, we need the formulas in the form y equals mx plus b, so we can really see that slope and see if it is flipped and the sign changed or not. So we have to get y by itself on both of these. Why is y not by itself? It has a plus 4x and a multiplied by 5. And whenever you're solving, you start with from what's further away and work to what's closer. So the opposite of this plus 4x is minus 4x. What I do to one side, I do to the other. Those cross out. You bring down what you didn't mess with, 5y equals, and you cannot add or subtract numbers unless they have the same letters with the same exponents. And by tradition, you put x's before bare numbers. So this is negative 4x plus 2. Now, y is y not allowed, so we multiply by 5. What's the opposite? Divide by 5. What you do to one side, you do to the other. Well, who gets divided by 5? Everybody. I call it the pirate rule of math. It's really the distributive property of division, but there's no sense of imagination in that. So I imagine that there's a bunch of pirates sitting around Tortuga, and someone's got some gold doubloons, and they say, rum for everybody. But instead, it's divided by 5 for everybody. Or it could be like Oprah, and you get a car, and you get a car, you get to divide by 5, and you get to divided by 5. These cancel out, and we have this equation. Y equals negative 4/5 x plus 2/5. So we have to see if this one makes the same slope. Same thing, we got to work from the outside in. Minus 5x to both sides. Those mark out. 4y equals negative 5x plus 3. Why is y not alone? Multiply by 4. Who gets divided by 4? Everybody! Divide by 4, divide by 4, divide by 4. It's a divided by 4 party! Alright, so our formula here is y equals negative 5/4 x plus 3/4. Are they perpendicular? No. It's flipped, but they're both negative. And it has to be that you flip it and change the sign. Alright, is like the problem we did in the last section where you're given a line and you're told their new line is perpendicular and it goes through this point, okay? So all we do with the first line is we look at it and see what the slope is. The slope is -2. So if it's perpendicular, our new slope, we will flip it and change the sign. So there's an understood 1 under there, so when we flip it, it's +1/2. We're given this point, so that's an x and that's a y, and we substitute everything into our formula. Y is 0, slope is 1/2, and x is 4. Then we can do 4 times 1 is 4 over 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. Now we have 0 equals 2 plus b. Y is b not alone, it's got a +2, so the opposite is -2. What you do to one side, you do to the other. So b equals -2. We've got the slope, we've got the b, we can substitute them after we sing substitute into y equals mx plus b. So my second line is 1/2 x minus 2. One more. Our original line is y1 equals 3/2 x plus 3. So looking at that, to get our new perpendicular slope, we flip it and change the sign so it's -2/3. And it goes through the point -2, 0. That's the x, that's the y, alphabetical. And now we sing substitute and put it into this equation. So y is 0 equals -2/3 times x, which is -2. -2 times -2 is +4. So 4/3 plus b equals 0. Y is b not alone, it's got a +4/3. So we're going to do the opposite, which is -4/3 from both sides. So b equals -4/3. Now we put it back into our equation. Y equals the slope, which is -2/3 x, plus b, but we don't say plus -4/3 because then that's confusing. We just say -4/3. So it's kind of like plus in quotes. If it's positive, it's plus. If it's negative, it's minus. All right, that's not too bad. These problems are very common in the SAT, ACT college entrance exams, so make sure you understand them. Math is fun.